Are there certain episodes that you've done and you're like, oh, I was just factually wrong on some of these things I now know? Or no, you do a pretty...
Well, I don't have any that I would say I was flat wrong about, but there is one subject where I am not as confident of my position as I was.
Can you tell us what that is?
Bigfoot.
Okay.
Initially, there was a minor factual, I think, issue in that show where this was like our third episode or something. And so it was right at the beginning. I was not doing the kind of intensive research then that I do now. And I took certain accounts of like there was a guy who claimed to have impersonated Bigfoot for the Patterson-Gimlin film, the famous one, where you see Bigfoot walking across this creek bed. A guy claimed that he was in it in a costume. And I think and I accepted that, but I don't think that's accurate now. There was a guy who tried taking credit for a bunch of Bigfoot related things. And when he passed away, his family actually went to the press and said, Bigfoot is dead now. But there's actually good evidence that he didn't do a bunch of the stuff he claimed.
Which might mean what?
Which might mean that he wasn't in a suit there. There also is better evidence for Bigfoot than I previously had been aware of. Now, my fundamental conclusion...
I love this.
Yeah. My fundamental conclusion is that I found it improbable. I'd love Bigfoot to be real. But my conclusion at the time was that I find it very unlikely that there is a larger than human anthropoid ape living in North America at present, given all the cameras and eyeballs we've got looking for it, and so forth. And I still find it improbable, but I don't find it as improbable.
Okay.
There has been a substantial amount of additional evidence accumulated for Bigfoot that you often don't hear about, but that I have subsequently accessed. The Patterson-Gimlin film, which I initially regarded as a hoax, may not be a hoax at all. There are problems with claiming that's a person in a suit. We did not in 1967, 1968 have suits that functioned that way. Also, it appears that the film was recorded at such a speed that a human couldn't really imitate that gait without it being extremely hard to do in a way that would show. You can also see muscles rippling under the skin.
Thursday, are we able to show everybody this? Can we pull that up on YouTube and show it without the volume?
Yeah. It's a Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film.
Yeah, if you find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's just a piece of the situation. Yeah. So here he's got.
Okay.
This is a stabilized version, which is
so
good.
Can you show everyone at home?
Yeah, hold on.
Wow.
Yeah. So this has been incredibly carefully scrutinized, and it is not as obviously a hoax as people have made it out to be. There's also a lot of other evidence.
Yep.
Okay.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Now, this, as you can see, they've stabilized the frame, which is good. It makes it easier to watch.
I see.
By the way, the Bigfoot.
So, are you convinced that's not a suit?
I'm not convinced it's not, but I'm also not convinced it is.
Yeah.
Suits. In order to make a suit like this, you would basically need technology that we didn't have in costuming in the 1960s. And the guys who did this film weren't Hollywood guys. They were like a couple of cowboys.
Wow.
Where would they get the money to do something like this?
Oh, I already have a cigar. I got one. Thank you, though. Wow, that's wild. This is really has accidentally become the Joe Rogan experience. I didn't mean for that to happen.
Oh, that's okay.
But that's excellent.
Joe Rogan wants me on. I'm happy to do that.
I would love to see you on Joe Rogan's show. We got to make that happen.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
The so in addition to the Patterson-Gimlin film, there's been a lot of additional evidence that can be cited in favor of a Bigfoot in North America being real, including dermal imprints of feet that clearly are, number one, that have consistent striations in them. Like we have fingerprints, right?
Okay, yeah.
The purpose of fingerprints is to give us a better grip.
Okay.
So that they generate friction.
Yep.
That's why we have fingerprints on the palms of our hands, but not the backs of our hands, because we don't grip tree branches with the backs of our hands. We grip them with the palms. Same thing for our feet. They give us stability. So like if you're a human being out in nature, you're wading a stream to catch fish or something,
Right.
your toe prints, your footprints keep you from slipping.
Okay.
Okay, well, if that's true of us as an anthropoid species, same thing should be true of Bigfoot. And in fact, there are casts that have been made that were taken in conditions where the apparent creature had stepped in a medium that was fine enough we can get the footprints, the toe prints off of the cast. And they show, so we can look at the toe prints from different apparent Bigfoot tracks. So these are not made by the same creature, but they show consistencies in how the toe prints and so forth are oriented. And they're not oriented like human ones. Humans have on the dermal graphics on our feet tend to be organized so that they show horizontally on our foot.
Okay.
But on Bigfoot tracks, they're oriented vertically. And this is across different tracks that are different sizes made by different Bigfoots. So that's something that is a notable piece of evidence. Also, these tracks show flexion points. So it's not like if you made a wooden hand, let's say, or wooden foot and just pressed on it,
Yeah.
it would be obvious that it was not flexible. It doesn't bend the way a regular hand or a regular foot does. But these tracks show flexion points that indicate they're not just a rigid wooden track. And there are other pieces of physical evidence that make it more plausible than I was originally aware that Bigfoot may be real. Yeah, those are some examples of tracks.
Are there Bigfoot sightings in Europe and Africa, other places, or only in the United States?
There are equivalents of Bigfoot sighted around the world, including in your home country, where the equivalent of Bigfoot is called a yowie. And there are different names applied. In some places, they're shorter than humans. In others, they're taller than humans. But there may be, small populations of other members of the anthropoid family that have not yet been discovered. In fact, the mountain gorilla was only discovered in the early 1900s. And before that, it was a cryptid. Mm-hmm. So there may be additional cryptids like, Matt Fradd right there on the screen.
Yeah, possible.
Who are still out there and just haven't been discovered yet. It's possible.
Sure.
My doubt about North America was because of how many cameras and eyeballs we have here looking for Bigfoot.
And do you still find that a good objection?
I find it a good objection, but I don't know that it's a conclusive objection at this point.
So what are they doing? Hiding very well?
That is one of the things they would do, yeah. There are species that hide from humans, and with good reason, because we're the boss of this rock, and you mess with us, it can go badly for you.
Interesting. I love it. Keep going.
But if people are interested in a survey of some of the anthropological and physical evidence that I've been referring to, there's a book called Sasquatch. It's by a physical anthropology professor, if I recall correctly, and I should be able to pull up his name real quick. Library. Just scroll down here. For a second.
Revisiting Bigfoot would be an excellent new title for the new video,
we did our first episode on ghosts, and I've done a lot of different ghost stories now, but that's one where I may also do a kind of another summary foundation stone
Yeah.
episode on ghosts.
Yeah, I'm sure those are evergreen episodes. Those are the ones I'd want to click on. Those UFOs, Bigfoot, for sheezy.
Huh. Let's see it in this one. Let's try this sub list. Oh, there's what I want. I want to.
I cannot believe how many questions we have. It's insane.
That's okay. Jeff Meldrum is the author. So Sasquatch by Jeff Meldrum.
Okay.
If you want to hear about some of the contemporary evidence pointing in favor of Bigfoot.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.